like to welcome Mark Redford. He is the CEO of LMI Technologies and also the Vice President of TKH Vision. Welcome all the way from Canada to speak to you. And yeah, the floor is yours. Looking forward to your presentation on simplified solutions in an increasingly complicated market.
Chance to talk today. As Anne mentioned, I'm from TKH Vision, and I'm here to talk a little bit about what TKH Vision is doing and how we're addressing the changing market in the space. So first to start with, I wanted to sort of provide at a high level how I see the world of the vision marketplace. What are the 4 key components that make up virtually every vision system out there? So first, we have to acquire data. We need some sort of solution to digitizing what's happening in the real world. So through a combination of cameras, sensors, lensing, lighting, etc., we're able to capture an image. Now, of course, this isn't the surveillance world. We want to do something with that image. So we need some sort of an algorithm that's going to process that image and make decisions based on it. So the next key component would be those algorithms. Then those algorithms need some sort of hardware, some platform to run on that are able to compute the result in whatever the time requirements are for that system. In the world of industrial automation, that's often quite quickly. And then finally, we need some way to communicate this decision. Coming up with the decision by itself is not good enough. We must be able to connect that either to an industrial system, a database, and form an operator, or be able to make some decision or log some result on that. And this is really where I see the market getting very, very complicated. When we look overall at what's happening in the vision space, there really is just simply an explosion of options. I mean, this show is a fantastic example of that when you look at how many companies are presenting, 440 plus exhibitors. If you go into the little selector on the website and you type in camera, you will come up with 130 different exhibitors selling cameras today at this show. There's a constant change in terms of new entrants, both big and small, coming into the market. When you start talking about the technology that goes into these platforms, there's so many buzzwords and they're always coming out. I think Mark did a great job in the last presentation of identifying some of those technologies and how they're present in the market. But really, what are the advantages to each technology? Why use one versus the other? What are the trends happening and how do you understand that? Then you have all of the different interfaces to deal with, whether it's on a camera basis, dealing with the software layers on top of that, talking the different industrial protocols, robot protocols. There's a huge number of options out of there. And then finally, when we get to the world of software, it's rapidly advancing. There's constant evolution in terms of what is state of the art, what is AI going to do, what is it capable of, where does it work, where does it not work. So how do you make decisions based on this very, very complex market space? So now if we step back and try to look at this from the customer's perspective, what is it that customers are trying to do? What are they looking for ultimately? And I believe there's 4 key things that each customer wants at the end of the day. First, they want to focus on their business and whatever's core to their business that they do best. Where do they bring value to the market in their solutions? And really, at the end of the day, is vision systems a component of that or not? And if not, what is it? Every customer is looking to improve their time to market. They want the least amount of risk. They want to get there the quickest with the least possibility of the project going awry. So how do they typically solve this? Well, they're looking for technology partners, someone that they can come to be that sort of trusted partner in them that can produce entire solutions for them with minimal risk overall. And then finally, I think at the end of the day, it would be a miss to not mention supply chains, particularly after the last 2 years. They're really looking for reliability here. On the one hand, there's a strong trend to simplify the number of suppliers each customer has. They want sort of this one-stop shop solution, but they also want to de-risk that. They want to be able to trust that partner to actually deliver supply regardless of what's happening in the market. So, I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk, who is TKH Vision? TKH Vision is relatively new to this space, but only from the umbrella perspective. TKH Vision is the umbrella brand for all of the different companies within TKH that serve the machine vision space. So there's a total of 10 different companies in this group. many of which you are already familiar with, as they have roots in this industry going back 20, 30 years even. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about them. We have a great booth where you can come by and find out more about our different products, but we capture a broad section of the market. So in this presentation, I promised you talking about how do we go from this complex environment to a simple environment. How do we go from the, jet fighter cockpit, or maybe it's not a jet fighter, to something a little bit more simpler that's more in line with what is the goals, what is the vision of the different customers out there. And to address that, I really want to talk about what we call our vision system solution pyramid. So in this pyramid, we're really building from the base layer of starting with helping select what is the correct sensor or camera for this application. How do we weigh cost, performance, and setup selection for the needs of this customer? Then on top of that, we have to work out what do we do with all of the data? How do we aggregate it? How do we optimize it? So how do we synchronize multiple sensors or multiple image sensors? How do we calibrate them into common coordinates? How do we balance the different data streams and optimize and filter them? Then, the next third tier up, we want to add measurements to it. We want to be able to simply add tools that will allow us to extract whatever features or decisions are required for that individual application. And then we want to take that out and communicate it again. Tie into whatever system is required, whatever HMI, database, PLC, etc. is there. And then finally, once we've now reached that fourth tier where we have a running system, we want to make sure it keeps running. We want to be able to support it out in the factory, out in the field, wherever it is in the world, to make sure that the customer continues to have a solution that works well. So how TKH is going about this is building a consolidated software platform that tries to tie together all of these different layers and really acts as a common element in building a framework to support the different companies. So starting at the bottom here, we have the different hardware products of the company. Through essentially a consolidated optimizer interface, we're able to take all of that data and move it up into the next section of layers, the workflow engine. And in that workflow engine, we have basically three different things happening. So first, we have sort of the control infrastructure, being able to record data, being able to log it, being able to replay it, handling all of the multi-camera or multi-sensor synchronization, handling calibration for the system. We want to be able to support different data types at the next level. So whether we're dealing with single point data, 2D array data, 3D height map data, 3D point cloud data, we want all of this to work within a common framework. Then we will add the analysis piece. This is the measurement tools, where we're measuring, classifying, detecting features, maybe adding custom software, or again, sort of those AI or learned solutions. And then finally, we bring that up to the last piece, which is the interface to the rest of the world. So whether we're talking to or producing an HMI, communicating with a PLC, a database, a dashboard, any of these different devices, we want to bring this all together within one consolidated platform to really simplify the experience to the customer. So now I'm kind of go through each of those layers in a little bit more detail. Again, TKH Vision has a very large portfolio of different hardware products, from 2D array cameras, integrated vision systems, line scan cameras, embedded board level cameras, smart cameras, SWIR cameras, it goes on. We're also well represented in the 3D space. Obviously, I'm from LMI, so I know these products best, but we produce a number of different 3D sensors from single point, laser line, confocal, snapshot. The newcomer to the group is Nerian, who specializes in high-speed 3D snapshot sensors, as well as we have embedded computing platforms to run all of these different algorithms on. So when you look from an overview at the group, we have that entire portfolio that we can go to select the technology and the implementation that's best for that individual application, and really help simplify from a customer perspective what are the challenges they're facing and what is the right technology path to get there. So now we've selected our sensor, we want to talk about data aggregation and quality. So this first tier now is where we're handling that implementation of tying together multiple devices. Whether it's 2D and 3D coming together, whether it's multiple cameras, they all need to be calibrated and synchronized in a common time base and a common coordinate system in order to be able to produce data that's in the same reference frame. Then what that allows you to do, of course, downstream is to have measurement tools that run off different data sources. So whether you want to anchor off 2D and then perform measurements in 3D or vice versa, we have that capability as all of the data comes together in a common way. Then we add our measurement tools. We have a large variety of tools within the group, and it's really, this is the area that's probably growing fastest. So we have traditional 2D profile tools for looking at 3D data. We have AI and deep learning tools that can solve a number of different applications, as well as the ability to work within 3D height maps or point clouds. And I really want to emphasize here the ability to go back and forth between the 2D and 3D data sets as required to make different decisions. And likewise, the ability to go backwards and forwards between traditional machine vision algorithms and deep learning-based algorithms. And maybe to illustrate that concept a little better, I'm going to talk about an actual application that we've solved for a customer that's using both a combination of traditional machine vision tools and AI-based tools. So in this case, there's a little legend up in the top right. Anything in the sort of lavender-colored boxes, that's a traditional machine vision algorithm. Anything in the blue boxes is a deep learning or AI-based algorithm. So what we're looking at here is a piece of meat. And we're trying to grade that meat and work out what class of meat it is based on the bone structure. So working through the workflow, we're starting with a 5-megapixel image. We have two separate streams for the data. And the first one, we're going to downsample it. And we're going to downsample it and then remove the background to highlight what is the object that we're actually looking at in the image. Then once we've determined that, we're going to use traditional tools to crop the algorithm back down to get to a focused, let's say, image that we can then work on processing. Now we're going to take that new focused image and we're going to switch back to AI and we're going to detect where is the bone and where is the fat cap on this piece of meat. What is the shape of those objects? And then again from there, we essentially have two separate paths. One where we're looking at essentially what is the numerical grade and one that's looking at the bone grade. Where again, we switch back to traditional tools. We start defining the contours based on the AI results or computing the grade or using AI again to classify the blade bone. So again, a good example of why it's important to not just use AI or traditional tools, but really to jump back and forth between the two to make sure that you're selecting the exact best tool for the application. Finally, our solution is really extensible. And what I mean by this is we have a very open approach to the way that we talk to our customers. We're not trying to provide a turnkey solution. We're really flexible in what happens within that solution, which part of the solution we provide, and how it's implemented. So we provide third-party library support. So if you're looking to use or already using a different third-party library, whether it's open source or a commercially viable product, we have the ability to integrate that library or even components of it within our solution. But we also open it up in terms of you adding your own capabilities to it. So if you're looking to embed specific IP or specific algorithms that you want to develop to either protect your own IP or to add additional value within the solution, we enable that as well and allow you to embed that in the solution. Finally, when we start talking about now the output side of things, we have a fully functional HMI designer. It's entirely drag and drop, which allows you to connect essentially output indicators from any of the measurement tools running within the solution to build your own HMI. Once that HMI has been built, you can then deploy it either to run within one of our sensors or on a PC. And then essentially that creates an HMI now that's running on a web server basis, and you can connect to it from any device, whether mobile, embedded, etc., to really produce a very simplified experience. So you can create an HMI for your application in as little as 20 minutes. Obviously, machine vision has roots in the industrial space, so real-time factory communication is a big component. We natively support the major protocols out there, whether it's FTP, Ethernet IP, Profinet, Modbus, EtherCAT. And as these protocols continue to evolve, we add support for those as well. And then finally, probably the newest aspect of our portfolio that we're moving towards handles that last aspect of really monitoring and support. So this is where we're taking the data and the dashboards, we're allowing them to run in each individual site, but we're also supporting tools for aggregation of that data, to look at the telemetry data from the systems and to bring them up to a higher level dashboard that allows monitoring of all of the systems. Now, we're flexible in how we deploy these. These can either be done on an on-premise deployment, or we support connections up to the cloud to have all of the data go to the cloud and to have connections from anywhere in the world. So as we move back to looking at the overall outline of the solution picture here, there's really one point I want to emphasize again. We don't have to provide this entire solution. We will provide any portion of it that makes sense on the customer basis, whether it's just a single component from one of the companies, whether it's a portion of the software that handles the consolidation, whether it's the software package with the output protocols. We're really flexible in our approach based on the fact that we know that every customer and every application is a little bit different. Finally, when it gets to hardware, we also offer customization. We recognize this is an important part of supporting each of the customers out there. Sometimes the customization can be as simple as white labeling or private branding of that product. In other cases, we're doing small modifications to that product, whether it's changing output connectors or interfaces or changing the optical configuration of the product, all the way through to really fully customized solutions. If you recall back a few slides ago, there was a group called the TKH Solution Center, and this is really what they specialize in. So if you're looking for a turnkey hardware solution, we're able to provide that as well. In this example here, we have a custom development. It's got 4 different cameras integrated into a single body, aligned and calibrated to produce an 850 megapixel camera running at 30 frames per second on a 100 gigi interface. So I don't want to say the sky's the limit when it comes to what we're capable of, but really for something where there's that specific need for a unique solution, we're able to provide that as well. Finally, when it comes to a global footprint, we're very, very well represented across the world. We have offices on not quite every continent yet, but getting there, all the major continents, and then we have an extensive network of partners that also support our solutions. And then finally, we really have world-class manufacturing and supply chain capabilities to provide that resilience that's needed. So across our different locations, we're able to support a wide variety of manufacturing needs with really a robust, redundant supply chain to make sure that we're able to deliver when it comes to it. So yeah, in closing, I'd like to thank you for your time and really just reinforce what TKH Vision is here to do. We really want to be that trusted technology partner. We want to leverage our experience going back for the last several decades across so many different industries. We are building a software platform that really allows a consolidated, simplified solution for the end market with the flexibility to provide any portion of that matters. So we trust that our one-stop shop really meets the needs of customers. Thank you very much.